Hay fever is pretty bad today. I suppose it's hit me the first time this summer, I guess. But, it's just ramped up from 0 to 1,000 real quick. But, right now, not going to be talking about Spurs. Amazing, awful final happened last night and not the result I wanted. But there was a lot of sport going on yesterday, and a big one was a World Heavyweight Championship fight in boxing. Anthony Joshua versus Ruiz Jr. Now, if you guys have watched this channel at all, then I sometimes talk about boxing. I like a lot of sports, Formula 1, boxing, a bit of MMA, football, cricket to an extent, basketball, but not as much anymore. And yeah, it was a pretty insane fight. It went how I thought it would go, actually. Generally, I do think Anthony Joshua is not a very good technical fighter. I don't think he is actually a good boxer. Overall, I just don't. I think that he's had a lot of winnable fights, and every time he's come against an opponent who is particularly trying with him, he gets one punch. And that's all it takes at heavyweight, you know, that's all it takes in most boxing. One punch can just change the outlook of the match, change the outlook of the fight. And you can win a fight which you had no right winning. I remember him fighting Povetkin a couple months ago, maybe 6 months ago, unless Povetkin was winning the fight, in my opinion, before Joshua got a TKO. I think it was a TKO in that fight. And Povetkin is, again, a smaller fighter than Joshua. He was coming out like a bloody pit bull. It was crazy watching the fight. I didn't expect Povetkin to actually win. I expected Joshua to win. But Povetkin really put up a fight against him. This time, with Ruiz, it was a last-minute fight because there was a pull-out. And I thought, I don't think Joshua is prepared for this motherfucker. He is a big guy. I mean, look at him. He's humongous. You could call him the Blob. He will kick your ass or punch you into next week, as he did with Anthony here. And I mean, some people will say that, you know, he didn't have enough time. He didn't have enough time to prepare. He maybe the camp wasn't long enough. But Joshua is always in good shape. The one thing you know from Joshua is he is in phenomenal, incredible, peak physical condition. And I know some people who think that he might be using some particular substances. I don't know if that's true or not. Surely it would have been caught if he was. So I don't really go by that mind of thinking with him at all. But it was a fun fight. It was a good fight. There was a lot of back and forth in the first couple of rounds. I think the third round was a great round. There was 3 knockdowns, 1 for Joshua and 2 for Ruiz. And the fight really spurred on from that moment. And even though it didn't go all 12 rounds, it wasn't what Wilder did with a 1-round wonder. But damn, it was a fun, enjoyable fight. And one thing I will say, let me blow my nose quickly. I think this is a one take, so I don't know if I'm going to edit this together or leave it like this. One thing I did notice was whenever Ruiz, on 3 of the occasions, I think, got knockdowns, he actually pushed Joshua down as opposed to a punch, right? When Joshua actually got a knockdown knockdown Ruiz, it was one punch and he fell down onto the canvas. When it was the other way around, Ruiz was basically pushing Joshua down, making him lose his balance. I mean, he was being bludgeoned to the point at that moment. But the final blow which made him lose balance and go off was not a punch, it was him pushing him down. And I noticed it the second time and I was like, that's a bit weird. I mean, obviously, yes, it is a knockdown. He can't stay on his feet. But it's not a punch which has got him there. Even though all the lead-up were punches and heavy blows, I mean, the final thing to get him to the canvas was actually a push, basically. And I don't know if that's... It didn't feel right to me. I think Ruiz could have won in another way. I mean, he did a couple of really, really hard blows. He had one to the temple in the third round. That was when he got the first knockdown. And Joshua was just stunned. Honestly, he was like... His arms were like jelly. It was crazy, and his legs turned into jelly. But, like I've said, I don't think Joshua is a good fighter, and I think that got proved tonight. I think if Joshua got in a ring with Fury, he would demolish him from a boxing standpoint. I think he would absolutely destroy him. The thing Joshua has is he's very strong and he's very boxy. But he's not as strong as Deontay Wilder. So if Fury can outlast Wilder, and I think Fury won the fight personally, I think he was way up on points even with the 2 knockdowns. I think if Fury can outlast Wilder with his power punches, Joshua's got no chance of beating Fury, and it's going to go to points, and Fury would win in most cases, I feel. With Wilder versus Joshua, I think that could be a more fun fight for the average viewer. I think there's going to be a lot of throwing from Wilder. I think Joshua really needs to come out. The one thing Joshua has been famous for in the UK, in my opinion, and a lot of people I know who watch boxing, is his boxiness. He is so boxy when it comes to him. His movement is so jagged. It's actually weird. Watching Ruiz, like, he's a fat man, all right? He's world heavyweight champion, so props to you, my man, but you're a fat guy. All right? And it doesn't matter. At this level of boxing, it's about the power, it's about the technique. And you have better technique than Joshua. Your punches were quicker. You were bobbing your head like mad during this fight. It was almost like you had some ultra instinct level at one point. You ducked your head before Joshua even threw the punch. It was mad. I was watching like, wow, Joshua was particularly slow there, or you were really quick. I just don't know which one it was. But yeah, I guess this is the problem. I always support the Brit. So in this fight, I was still supporting Joshua. But I just acknowledge that he's not a good fighter. That's really the crux of it. I want the Brit to win. Always. Always. But I just feel that maybe he's being found out here. And if he fights against one of the other big guys, I don't think he'll have a chance in hell against them. This is the problem. And by taking this fight, I think it was mandatory. He had to fight Ruiz for one of the belts, I don't know which one it was. Maybe it was all of them. I can't remember why he had to take the fight. I think it may have been mandatory. I don't know. I don't think he really wanted to fight right now. I think he wanted to hold out for either Wilder or Fury. And now he's basically lost that chance. I mean, there's going to be a Tyson Fury-Wilder rematch because the match was a draw, even though I think it was a win for Fury. And the only way he can come back from this is if he beats Ruiz in the rematch and reclaims the World Heavyweight Championships. Now, again, he fought in America for the first time, I believe, and he got owned. I think this was another problem people had with him. He would only fight in the UK. And yes, he'd win in the UK, but he'd never face an adverse crowd. He sort of had that here in a way, but there were so many Brits in the audience in the fight that it sort of almost felt like it was in the O2 or something. But it was Madison Square Garden. I think the rematch being in the UK suits him more. I think he has a good chance of winning the rematch. But, as I said, I thought Ruiz would win this match for a multitude of reasons. And, well, I was right. What do you want me to say? I was right. So it was a good fight for boxing. It was fun. I think that it showed other people in the division Joshua can be beat. And I think maybe he can't handle smaller men. I think it's a general thing for taller fighters. They struggle sometimes against shorter men, even though really they have the advantage because of the height. But because they can duck and dive and they can come up from below, you know, they can uppercut much easier, I feel. So I think it's a general thing with taller fighters. They, for some reason, have an inverse relationship with shorter fighters. But maybe he can't handle them because Povetkin was really going for him, and so was this lad here. But great fight. Good advert for boxing. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel down there. If you didn't, then Ruiz Jr., the first Mexican heavyweight champion of the world, might I add. He added it multiple times. We'll come after you. You don't want that, you really don't, so just subscribe anyway to avoid that. I've been NarendraTheComic. You've been great, and I'll see you next time. Skadoosh.